How old were you when you got to the league?
I was 16 when I competed.
Yeah, 20 when you retired. Is that right? Yeah.
You had an even shorter career than me. That's hard to
I
do.
know, right? I was my own worst enemy. I had all these dreams. I wanted to do all this stuff, but I couldn't start. I don't want to like go fail in the world, say this Olympic gold medalist just failed at doing something so simple. How much does that bother you? What people have said or what headlines have written?
I've let it be known with everybody in my life, like this is not the same Johnny that you've seen in the past before.
What do you think are the biggest hurdles or hindrances are preventing you from getting there?
It's sitting right here in this chair myself.
I could never.
Oh, I thought you were just roasting
If I-
me. Like,
no,
I got
I'm saying,
one
like-
thing to
You
do.
can never
All
put your
got
head,
one
you can never
job.
put your head between your legs,
Never.
snap, and just run
Oh,
straight.
okay, I want to see you do it, Johnny.
Living in the good old days. Take a look around. Ain't it funny how feels like we're in the good old days. Go and grab a cup, go and fill it up. Cheers to living in the good old days.
When it comes to your glory days, you sometimes wonder if your best days are behind you or if they're still out in front of you. My guests today have proven that through hard work, growth, and the courage to commit, you truly can have it both ways. Shawn Johnson is an Olympic gold medalist and one of the greatest gymnasts in U.S. team history. Andrew East is a former NFL long snapper and one of the greatest advocates for Vanderbilt football you will find. Together they show that if you believe in yourself, your teammate, and the people you surround yourself with, your glory days never have to end. In June, they have their first book coming out together entitled The Courage to Commit. Embrace the radical power of sticking with something. I stopped by their Nashville home to talk about this inspiring book, the wisdom they've gained, and our philosophies on what truly matters in life. These people are truly incredible people that I enjoy spending my time around, that I learn a lot from. This is Glory Days with Shawn Johnson and Andrew East. Shawn and Andrew East, welcome to the pod. Thank you guys for coming on.
Glad to be here, Johnny.
Glad we're not there anymore.
Very much so. So for everybody in the backstory, we all last year, at some point in time or another, got wrangled in by Fox to going to do a Special Forces TV show. And for you people that have seen it, have watched, it's an interesting dynamic. It's interesting in the fact of what starts out is you don't really know who's going to be on it. For me, I think I was really nervous about that fact, just because like if they would have told me that you were coming on, or Eric Decker, or anybody that I had somewhat of like a familiarity with because we lived the same lives for a point in time, I think I would have really jumped on it. But to just get in the car and wait for Nick Young to get into the van with me and be like, oh shit, we maybe had partied together in LA 8 years ago. Let's go do this together. It's just, there was so much unknown about that to start off. And then they really keep us all separated. We don't get to see each other. It's a real game of cat and mouse for what you do. So what did you guys think of that situation?
I enjoyed that process. That you never get that anymore in today's day and age. If you say, hey, we're going to go meet so-and-so, I'll pretty much like do some type of look into who they are. Like Google them. Okay, now you see what their fashion's like, what their brand is online, what headlines there's been. And I feel like in that situation, not knowing who is going to be there, not having any access to outside information, it was just like, let me get to know this person for who they are and how they respond in these situations. And yeah, I think it unlocks a new realm of relationships where like previously you were probably like, that person is like so much different than I am. And like stylistically, I don't know if we'd ever hang out. But then you get in this situation, you're like, dang, actually, I love that person. And now, even though I see we are different, I know that they are this quality, this type of person that I actually did really enjoy. And what a treat that was.
For you guys living out here, living this lifestyle, and then you look at a guy like Nick Young, you're like, we couldn't be from different ends and opposite ends of the spectrum. But, that would be, when you get around him and you spend time with somebody like that, you're like, okay, this guy I would invite over to my house.
Yeah.
If he was ever in Nashville, you come have dinner at the house. I think it's been really cool to see how the relationships have stayed together since the show has left, right? Like I see Mark Estes all around the country. He's not here as much, but you guys, we talk. The Deckers, I still talk with them. So like a lot of people that were in Nashville, that was a huge reason why I ended up moving here, because there was probably 10, 12 people on the entire show that were from Nash.
Yeah, it's fun.
And it's actually got me here to where, I enjoy being here now. I'm learning the city still. You guys are a lot more veteran than me. What are some things that I have to do that I'm new to town? other than come hang out with you guys.
So you have to come hang out with us. I've told you, pasta night. You have to come over.
For all of you that don't know, if you go to the grocery store or Publix here, you just see these two on magazine covers and stuff. So I had to chirp them about that the other day.
I think you just have to get used to a little bit slower life here. I feel like Nashville is still, it's grown so much, but at its roots, it's still like original Nashville, which is very community based and just like friendship based.
I think people that have been here for a long time would strongly disagree with that statement.
I mean, we've been here 16 years.
That's a long time.
And I do feel like it looks different, but the like root of it, people are still knocking on doors and bringing over dinners, and you can.
I got a cake.
Yeah, you can ask your neighbor for anything, and everything is like yes, ma'am, yes, sir, and what church do you go to, and like it's all still very selfless centered, which we love.
It is great. I move in, my neighbors are very like, I think people are just kind of like, because of how much has been said about me and heard about me through the grapevine, people are very like, we're going to leave him alone. If he wants to come around, come to it. Like, you're more than welcome to. But I did get home the other day and have a full cake with a note and stuff from my neighbors and everything. So it's been a nice, warm intro for everybody, kind of every place that I go.
How much does that bother you? What people have said or what headlines have written or,
I think in the past it would have really affected me, but I think at this point now I've kind of heard it all, and I go into it with the assumption that, people can see my change in life, that I'm doing different, that I'm not doing the same stuff that I used to be at one point, that there's a better egg underneath the surface than there was at a point in time in the past. But, I go into it with the mindset of almost like, no matter what you do, you guys, right? How much good you do, the content you put out, who you are as people, there are still nasty people online. You're still going to have comments or this and that. So it doesn't matter where you are. Everybody is always going to have something to say or something negative. Or there was an interaction in the past where, I did somebody the wrong way or spoke in a way, or like, I'm very protective of my space now. I very much know who I want to hang around, the type of situations I'm in. And I don't know if you guys have like really branched out the way that like I do lately. You guys travel a lot, but like I'm out a lot. I go to bars, I go to games, I'm around a lot of people. The generation that we're in right now and the way that people are in the world, people are really messed up. I think people are very entitled, angry, just like you still have your good people out there if you're hanging in the right spots. But if you're out on a Broadway or, there's people getting robbed, there's people fighting, there's just insanity out here. Like, when you travel around and you're out past, 10, 11 o'clock at night. So I'm very protective now of the people that I'm with, of my space, of the way people talk to me. I don't really let people come up and say any slick things or anything anymore. I very much will let you be known that you've crossed a point with me, and I stand on business very quickly. I just kind of got to the point where I'm over that. If I'm going to be out, I'm the easiest person to come have a conversation with. If you approach me in a respectful way as I would you, right? Or anybody else. But if it turns past that point of respect into disrespect, I let people know very quickly to get away from me. That's something I've developed over time.
This is a related question, but I'm curious. Who does Johnny see Johnny being?
Moving forward?
But I want to know who you see right now, and I want to also know what you want out of life, because I'm curious. And then I'll tell you what I see.
Yeah, no, I see a person right now in myself that's really coming into more of an adult phase of my life. I think I have a growing perspective of what I want to be, what I want to stand for. I have the ability to not look at the past, and I've been stuck for so many years on, looking in a rearview mirror of things that I did wrong or this and that. I don't really think back on things like that anymore. I have the ability to make whatever life I want for myself from here moving forward. And that's a thing you can look at and kind of grade yourself on every day. Some days are going to be better than others, but as a whole, I'm a very, caring, loving person that wants the best for my friends, that wants to move forward in a business world, find something that makes me happy with a passion and go into life and look back at it in 20, 30 years and said, I did better. I gave back. I was great to people. I helped my friends. I was great to my family. I was an unbelievable uncle and brother. And those things in life mean more to me than accolades or what I did on a football field and things like that. So, looking forward, I want I want to be successful in a different way of life. I want to be successful in business. I want to be successful as an uncle and all the things that I mentioned before. And I feel like I'm on a good path for that. PrizePicks is America's #1 sports picks app. App is really easy to use. For player picks, you just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. That's it. Also, PrizePicks is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. And they now have team picks too, where you can pick the winner, spread, and total of any major game. Baseball is back in full swing, and the NBA playoffs are right around the corner. There's no better time to make team picks than April. We have a big golf tournament coming up this weekend. All the best players, one of the best courses in the entire world. Obviously a stacked lineup with people who can win. Is it going to be Bryson? Is it going to be Scheffler? I'm going to go with a Scottsdale friend of mine. Give me John Rahm to go and win out this week. You guys can always follow me on the app at Johnny Manziel. Just use code Johnny and get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5. PrizePicks. Use code Johnny. Download the app now, and good luck. PrizePicks. It's good to be right.
What do you think you're good at? What are you best at?
I mean, I'm a really good people person. I'm really good at, being able to talk to people. I'm finding a really good lane right now of almost like playing therapist to a lot of people in my life. Through the things that life has put me through, I feel like I have a good way of shaping people's perspectives of that they don't always look at life like that. I've had to look at life in a way where you look at the positive, the negative. I look at life in a way now where, hey, if I make this decision, I know myself X, Y, and Z is most likely going to happen. So I need to probably stay away from South Beach during Ultra. I probably need to stay away from this, and that.
How do you do at that? How's that going?
I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything anymore. I don't feel like I have to be at this for my image. Oh, I have to go do this. It's going to make me look. I don't care about that. I have enough with what I want out of life, with what I have on my plate right now. I'm very open and receptive to other people coming in my life with opportunities or business or, hey, let's go on this Jeep thing this week. Get me out of my comfort zone of what I would normally do. I'm very open to things like that. It's just, I am very much, and I've let it be known with everybody in my life, this is not the same Johnny that you've seen in the past before, but I may go to Coachella, but I'm going to play golf at Madison Club Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and maybe I'll go to the festival for a couple hours. Maybe at night I'll go to a party or something here and there, but I'm going to try and be back home and get in bed, wake up the next day, play golf. My priorities are different. My mindset is different. I don't feel like I have to push it past the edge anymore of going out or going to this party or, this is going to be so great. There's going to be so many people and this and that there. I just don't care anymore.
This will be my last of these annoying questions.
It's not annoying. I think it's good. I think a lot of people on here, I've been doing solo pods. So I've been going on and just kind of speaking my mind about what's going on in the world, what's going on in sports. And I have my own opinions on things. I have my own opinions about Roger Goodell and the way that I see the NFL. I have differing opinions that aren't always along with the normal thought process of that.
I'd be curious to hear your takes on NIL, but that'll be a different conversation because, my gosh, what a difference a decade would have made. You know what I'm saying? But I'm curious. So all the life that you said you wanted was beautiful. I love all of the adjectives you used. What do you think are the biggest hurdles or hindrances that are preventing you from getting there?
It's sitting right here in this chair, myself.
This is why, bro. Okay, can I just soapbox for a second?
Of course.
I'm about to go off.
I'll say before you soapbox, I just have to interject and say it was one of the greatest gifts that Special Forces gave us. Because, one, not a football girl. Sorry. I don't know much. I had heard of your name, even when you said hey, I'm Johnny. And I was like, Johnny who? And you're like, Manziel. I was like, I've heard that before. But one of the greatest gifts we had was, I feel like we are in our parent era, but also friends. And getting to see you and learn who you were at such a stripped down level. And then it's just, you are incredible. Thanks. You're so kind and you're such an amazing teammate and you're so capable. And then every once in a while when we would get in our circles and do these whatever on the show and have to share, you can see that there's a doubt in you, but you're so able. And You should never forget that.
Thanks.
Do people tell you that a lot?
I think for me, I notice it at times, right? Like there's times where I get really, really ramped up, right? And I put a lot of things on my plate and I get going really, really fast. And then once I get, just physically like exhausted from that, whether it be traveling or work or trying to figure out this deal or the next, or like all these things and plans that I have for myself, I'll get to a point like last week, I was on the road for 11, 12 days. I get back home like Monday, Tuesday of this week, Wednesday, have been like very unproductive for me because I feel like, I need to reset. I need to, do some good things to get my mental back in a good spot and just like kind of relax a little bit. So with that, some days when I'm a little lazy and I don't do as much as I would like to, I'll start to feel my mental shift in a way where I do get a little bit down on myself. And it does seem like the things that I'm doing in my life that at one point seemed and felt very, very easy seem to get a little bit more tough. But I have the self-awareness now to be able to kind of pull myself out of that a little bit. And, whether that be waking up earlier, go work out, go play golf, like as simple as like hitting up one of my boys. He's like, we're in the studio, come to the studio, go have some drinks with the guys. Like just do things like that rather than like sitting by myself. I feel like when I'm by myself, I get to be my own worst enemy at some points in time, even though a huge part of life is you have to get to a point where you can be on your own. You have to get to a point where you're okay with yourself. You don't need any other outside factors for you to be okay. I think for me, a long point in my life, from the time I got drafted to the time I won the Heisman, a lot of that was like always having somebody around me, always having somebody watching me, always having somebody near me, whether it be a relationship with a girl or one of my friends that's working for me or whatever. And I think this has been a good thing for me to, be able to spend some time on myself and, have my ducks, take care of my ducks, have my house, like take care of things. And like we were saying earlier, I really don't have any management right now. So for me, I'm learning a lot of things just by me doing them myself.
Which is good. But do you feel like you take outside input well? Like, are you coachable in different meanings of that
Very
word?
much so. I feel like I don't know the answers to half of anything. I went to 3 years of college, and I can tell you this, I didn't pay attention for one.
Yeah. So I feel like it's good to be self-sufficient and be able to figure it out. But it's also like Shawn saying all these things about you. Like, does that hit in a different way? Let me tell you what I see, because I love Johnny. And I mean both the public image of Johnny, like, bro, you were incredible. You know what I'm saying? I love the Johnny that everybody knows that's in the headlights. But I've come to love Johnny that has been behind the scenes. And that's why, like, if you could bring those together and merge them, it would be fantastic. You, bro, are, when you say words, people listen. And I don't know what it is about your aura. That is just how it is. And you speak so well. Mm-hmm. You are very encouraging. You're very funny. You're like, you have an impact with your words, and your talents are also incredible. Like physically, mentally, you have so many good things going on. It is just so interesting to see why you feel like you're your own worst enemy. Like,
I've done this before. I'm very cyclical in my life, through times of the year, through seasons, through like how it goes, right? Like you get to the end of the year, you look back, reflect on the year. Did things really go well? Okay, things went well. You go into New Year's. All right, it's the new start of the year. You want to get it off to a good start. January, February, March usually goes really, really good for me. And then, I put a lot of plans on my schedule for the year, what I'm going to do, ideas, business things, trying to tie things together. I want to get on the golf course more. This is what I want to do in the business of golf. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then it gets to a point where, you can only exhaust so much of your mental and physical like capacity of what you have to do so many things. You guys juggle a lot of different hats of what you do, from kids to business to this to that to even fun you need to have mixed in between all of it.
But you have to have an awareness of help that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to have the humility to ask for the help, and then like also the, I guess, practicality of like actually receiving it. You know
You
what
have
I'm
to
saying?
be able to laugh at yourself too,
Do you feel
right?
like you're able to-
You have to have humility. You have to have a humble attitude in what it is. Like, I have people that come up to me and really like freak out and like worship the ground I walked on because of what happened 12 years ago on a football field. And for me, I don't know. I wouldn't say it makes me like uncomfortable, but it's just like football is such a small thing in the grand scale of life. And like what really, really matters is football a great tool for people to learn a lot of things about life, to go make money, to do a lot of things like that. Sure it is. Of course it is. Me and you both could have played 15-year careers and retired and never had to podcast or
I messed mine
do
up,
anything
bro.
either.
I messed mine up.
I did as well. I did as well. But like, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I let me not having football in my life for 10 years of my life beat me to a place where I didn't want to get off the couch. It's not that serious in the grand scheme of things.
But it is an awesome doorway into like.
Of course it is.
This has been interesting with Shawn. People approach her and cry, dude. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you're my hero," and to see that time after time after time, you're right. You're like confused because it's like, okay, sports. Why does that bring that out on people? But then it's like, oh, I actually that gives me some type of footing to have an impact on people, and it's like being a role model is an interesting kind of like responsibility to try to carry.
I think you guys have this in a lot of ways, right? Where, you know, when you guys speak, people listen as well. You have an unbelievable following, the way that you guys live your life, what it is, you know, to get into it, this book too. Like when you just look at it, right? And even the title, you know, the courage to commit, embrace the radical power of sticking with something. I think that's really hard in life right now. It's really hard. It's been really hard for me. It's been really hard for me of like, I have things in my life right now that I'm very passionate about, things that I know make me very happy, things that I know put me in a really good spot, mentally, physically, time-wise, my ability to be able to go and do it. But just based off how life goes sometimes, that doesn't get pushed to the forefront always. I want to do stuff in the golf space. I want to become a better golfer. I think it gives me a competitive edge. I think it, you know, still gives me a lot of the things that I had from playing football just in a competition standpoint. But there's other times where I have to go on the road for 2 weeks and I won't pick up a golf club, or 3 weeks and I have to go do what I have to do to try and, you know, continue to build wealth, continue to make money and like do those things. And, you know, I have to put them on the back burner. And sometimes I've looked up and it's been 3-4 years since I've really got into like a serious physical golf grind where I like work on my game. You know, how good would you be if you just went out and long snapped one ball every 5 weeks?
Right. Not good.
Not good.
There's
Not good.
so many things that you said though that I can relate to and I think is interesting. And I've had to like reverse engineer only because I've had Andrew. But I do think when you have like an elite mindset and you're obsessive about something and it's part of your life for so long, it becomes impossible for the rest
You
of
had
your
to have that.
Same. But like getting out of that, kind of like you said, where even on the road, someone will come up to you and they worship football. All they want is like football Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really hard thing to process when you've spent so much of your life already outside of football. I don't want to say trying to be someone else, but like just be Johnny.
Yeah, I'm also establishing a new identity outside of football for the last decade.
For sure. But no matter how much effort we put into that, we will still, to majority people, be seen as gymnastics or
Well,
football.
when we both, God forbid, pass away one of these days, years and decades down the line, it is going to say Olympic gold medalist or
And
Heisman Trophy winner. It's what it's going to say.
when you're so obsessive in your sport and it takes you to such a low when you get out of it, which I went through the same thing. I hit rock bottom outside of my career because I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what my value is like rooted in. I don't know how to like get up and start something new because the whole world expects me to now be good at everything that I do.
To interject on this for 1 second, this is what a lot of people are figuring out in regular life that
Yes.
never played sports. This is what I'm hearing and seeing in the streets every single day of people that come up to me, which is why I understand the words that I'm saying and what I'm doing right now do carry weight, because I have had a lot of people over the last 6 months that come up to me and be like, hey, when I was at a really low point in life, or I got out of school, or I didn't have any money, or I didn't know what to do, you know, listening to this pod or things like that really helped me get through a point to where it's like, yo, it's okay to struggle. It's okay to have this, but you have to have a same mindset that we have on sports where it's like a relentless, undying just passion to go after something. You have to have that in life.
But I also think, Andrew has said this before too, that relentless passion a lot of times doesn't come until you've like set up the structure of your life and gone through monotony and boringness to get there. And I think for me, the hardest part and what I related to so much is what you're saying is I was my own worst enemy. I had all these dreams. I wanted to do all this stuff, but I couldn't start. I literally couldn't get myself off the couch because I was like, I don't know where to start. I don't know how to start. I don't want to like go fail in the world, say this Olympic gold medalist just failed at doing something so simple. I could not, or I would go on stints where I'd get super motivated and I fall off. But I have now like reverse engineered our life to where, kind of like you were saying, you go through seasons. I know that every December I crash hard. I don't like the cold.
What?
I get really exhausted.
Really?
Shut up.
What?
And we now have to reverse engineer our life and look at a calendar and say, every July, I'm exhausted and I hate traveling. I don't want to do it. I don't want to like. And so now all the team members that we have in place, they know in July or whatever month it is, it's like, I'm not going to say yes to work. I can't. And I think implementing that structure and those boundaries for people like us who have very obsessive, like, I have to be so passionate about what I do, and you crash hard, you have to have that infrastructure in place. Otherwise, our brains don't operate properly.
Yeah.
You have to like restructure how the dopamine works in your brain, knowing that there's going to be peaks and valleys and you can handle it. Otherwise, if I didn't have Andrew, I literally wouldn't get off the couch.
Yeah. I think when you apply this to somebody who, let's say somebody who works a 9 to 5, right? And, works 5 days a week, you get your 2 weekend days off. Like you really, for the people who struggle with that, because you're like, oh, I'm finally ready to be off work. It's the weekend. Let's go have fun, do this, X, Y, and Z. You really have to look at it in a way of balancing. Like, yes, you do need to, release some of the pent up energy that you've had from work and all this stuff and go out and have fun or do this. But you also have to find a way to recover your mind, recover your body, and just like rest. Like that's a huge thing for me. Like I have an unbelievably high motor to where I can go 6 weeks. I mean, last year we left Special Forces May 19th. I didn't get back home to Scottsdale until almost October, into September. And then I was home for 3 weeks and I went right back on the road again, was in the Bahamas. I didn't really go back to Scottsdale again. So until I got here to Nashville in February something, I had been on the road since we left for Special Forces. So I have an unbelievably high motor in the fact that like I can do something like that.
But it doesn't mean you have to use it.
No, it doesn't. But like also that was a point in my life where I was really down going into Special Forces. Like I'm surprised I even got on the plane. I'm surprised I even got there. I didn't want to do it at all. It was really a lot more of a, let me go see if I can do this off the couch. Kind of like I respect our military. I want to go experience something like this, but I don't really care about it. That was like my initial going into it kind of mindset until we got, through the training stuff and in Morocco and Wuzarat or whatever that place was called. Until I got there, I wasn't really like sold on it. And, even after the first day, it was kind of like tough. I mean, I thought I was going to die too.
Bro, we were so hurt after that.
I really thought I was going to die. And, to make it out of that. And then, looking back on it now, all the feels, I'm super glad that I did do it. But, I needed last year to go the way it did to really get me out of a funk that would have been really, really hard, almost impossible for me to do if I didn't have the things on my schedule. If I didn't leave in May and come back in October, it would have been really hard for me.
Bro, it's concerning to me. We met down at Barstool Sports, the bar here in Nashville. And it was interesting to get a glimpse inside your everyday where you're doing this work. It's like midnight. And I was pumped to like go get a chance to hang with you. They sold all these VIP tickets, and there you are in the middle of hundreds of people, like alone in a crowd. You know what I'm saying? You had the booth to yourself. They're bringing you all the bottles and the food, and it's like I think you had one buddy there with you, but then like everyone just like, let me come get a picture. Let me see this guy. Everyone's drinking. It's like it was just a really interesting. How can one thrive in this environment? And it made me have some empathy for you. It made me impressed by how well you are doing in this arena, and like part of me wants you to get out of that for your own well-being, but like I understand that there's complications with that. But I would just urge you to stop being surprised when you make good decisions, bro. Like when you get on the freaking plane, like stop.
That's very true. I think it's something that I have to give myself more credit for than I do in the past. Like, yeah, I think I do the stuff when I go out and host the events and do things. Number one, because I'm really good at it, and number one, I always look at things in a way that's like, last week I did a thing for 1 hour for 30 grand. My dad just like, I tell him, and he's just like, how?
Yeah.
He's like, I built this house for the last 5 months and I'm going to make 50.
Yeah.
He's like, you go and do things for an hour or 2 hours and you make tens of thousands of dollars. And he's like, you just don't even understand what you have. And I'm like, maybe you're right. And I think because of what my life has been in the past, I'm so good at the social settings and so good at the party atmosphere and things like that. And I realize how much more since I've been here, I'm steering away from that, right? Like last week was Ultra in Miami. The last 8 years, if I didn't have a girlfriend, I would have been at Ultra in Miami. If I moved here 2 years ago, I would have lived on Broadway a lot more than I have been since I've been here. I hang out more in Midtown, Music Row area. I go to Losers. I sit on the back VIP patio. I hook my own phone up. I have a chicken breast with no bun and fried pickles and a soup. I hang with a bunch of writers here who are all making music. I'm super into the music space. I'm super into dive bars with pool tables and where people leave me alone. I'm very much like coming into a new form of, yeah, I know how to do all that. Yes, I can come host a party at Barstool for a night for a decent fee. But I am moving very much more into, a different phase of life.
I also think that's something really beautiful about Nashville is there's so many people here in the industry or whatever industry it is that are very recognizable. But Nashville, I don't want to say people don't care, but there is a demeanor here of I'm not going to bother you.
Yeah, no, very much so. I think you have to have that with, the amount of people that are, in music that are here. Like, right, you never know who you're going to see around town or anything like that. And I think it's just it's another thing about, I guess we're in the South.
Yes.
I guess.
Kind of.
Nowhere on a map in the U.S. is this even remotely South. But you can call it the South just because of the people and I guess the state of Tennessee. But, it's really interesting to me. But the people are really great. You can run into your occasional crazy redneck on the road or something like that for sure. But, for the most part, everybody that I've had come over to my house or the people that I hang around or the people that I meet are rooted in good things. And I think that's an amazing thing to see once you've lived in, I left Cleveland, interesting place. I went to LA, dark, interesting place. Scottsdale was really good. Scottsdale is another good city of good people. It's just not as many that are in the South, I feel like.
Yeah.
So to finally be here, I'm finding a lot of peace in that. And, I think it's everything that you guys talked about whenever we were, on Special Forces.
Yeah. To bring it back to the book, and I think it applies to you moving to Nashville. We wrote the book because we have experience in successes and failures that readiness comes as a result of committing to something and taking this leap of faith and not before it. So like you seemed like you were on the fence to move to Nashville. You know what I'm saying? Like this readiness. Oh yeah, I'm ready to move to Nashville. I don't know if that feeling will ever come. I'm ready to have kids. No one ever says that. Like, yeah, I'm ready. It comes after you do the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, hey, now I'm in Nashville. I see all this wonderful stuff. Oh, I have kids now. I've learned all these things that have prepared me to thrive in this situation.
You have to put yourself in a position to be able to accept the blessings that God has for you. You have to be ready to receive those certain things. I don't feel like God ever gives you something in your life that you don't have the ability to handle, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, financial, whatever it is. There's always a will and a way to be able to find the things that, were put on your plate in this life. For me, Nashville was like, okay, this is something like when I came out here for the first time, I rented a house. I stayed for 3 days. I stayed for 3 weeks. Like I didn't want to leave. Something about it felt like home. Something about it felt like I could figure it out. I signed another lease in Scottsdale for another year. And the second that I did it, I felt trapped. I felt like I made the wrong decision. I felt like all these different things. And when it got to the point of where I found a place, right? Like, I bounced around on a couple places here where I signed, it didn't work out. I end up in this home that I'm in right now. And I think it's perfect, right? It's perfect for the things that I want in life, to be able to receive those blessings that are coming my way. And I couldn't agree with you more. There's never like a sign when you walk out down your driveway or you're driving down the road that just says you are ready for this. Do this or do that. You have to believe in your intuition and believe in who you are as a person.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good options. Like Scottsdale could have been good. Nashville could have been good.
It was great. For 5 years, it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
But it's kind of up to you to like make the good decision the best decision. And I think a lot of people just don't end up making a choice because they're like waiting for the best to reveal itself. And it's like, no. Choose one horse and make that the winner.
I wanted to take a quick break to talk about something that's become a staple in my day, Lucy nicotine pouches. I've tried a lot of pouches over the years, and Lucy is just on another level. My personal go-to right now is the Lucy Breakers, especially the mint flavor. They've got this little flavor capsule inside, so you pop it in with your teeth, and it hits you with an instant burst. And the flavor actually lasts. Not like those other pouches that are gone in 5 minutes. It's clean, no tobacco, and the shape actually feels good. It doesn't sit weird in your lip, and for all you guys that want stronger pouches, they go all the way up to 12 milligrams. Honestly, once you try them, it's tough to go back. That's why Lucy is the official nicotine pouch partner of Almost Friday. You can grab Lucy in stores nationwide or get it delivered straight to your door. Lucy is the only pouch that delivers long-lasting on-demand flavor, so find a store at lucy.co/stores or get it shipped with 20% off your first order at lucy.co/Johnny. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every customer is age verified. Warning, as always, this product contains nicotine, and nicotine is an addictive chemical. But check out lucy.co/stores and get you some today. You're talking about in the book, you do this, you write this through experience of things you've done good, things you've done bad. What are some of those things? Like, what are some of those things that you like look back on and you're like, man, this was a challenge for us, or we did wrong along this way to get you to the point of where you are now?
Everything. We've lost a lot of money. We've lost a lot of businesses. We've had really, really low phases in our marriage. We've had low phases in parenting. Lived in the wrong places. Been in the wrong circle of friends. And
that's a huge one. To everybody that's like really out here listening right now, it doesn't matter if you come from our side.
Yeah.
If you are in the position that we're in life right now, it doesn't matter if you're in middle school. It doesn't matter if you're in high school. It doesn't matter if you come from the hood. It doesn't matter where. If you come from boarding school, it does not matter. The main biggest thing that we can all three sit in these chairs today and say is a huge deterrent of where you yourself, by yourself, want to go in life. I have had friends that I thought would be along for this journey the entire way. They are no longer here, and they left a long time ago. You are responsible for yourself, and your biggest deterrent in life, more than your own decisions or this or that, will be the people that you decide to hook yourself up with and hang around with. And it doesn't matter.
Dang, Johnny's preaching right now.
It's just what it is. Like, if you hang around people who make money and go to the gym and do good things in their life, you are most likely going to be the next person in line to do that. If you hang around people who are doing bad stuff, you're going to probably end up in jail.
The hardest decision, though, is when you find yourself surrounded by people who you would deem friends, and maybe you have a gut check that like they're not great. The hardest decision of your life is walking away from them, because you either risk being alone or risk this idea of, am I capable of making new friends? And it's really hard.
Yeah.
Are you capable of telling people, hey, you may not be good for me, I don't think we should hang out anymore as well? That's a really awkward conversation to have.
Yeah.
But sometimes maybe in life, your lives aren't going the same way. And if your friends are your friends and they're actually your friends, I put my friends through the ringer to see what their loyalty is like. I put my friends through it Because if you really are my friend the way that you say you are, I'm going to test that to see. I've had too many people around for too long that shouldn't have been there. I'll put my friends in weird spots because I know that if you ask me to do this, I would do it for you. No questions asked.
You test them like that?
Of course I do. How do I know what you're around for? How do I really know? How do you know if people are telling you the truth today? You know, like people out here, that I used to be an incredibly big liar. What? I had to walk into press conferences every day in Cleveland and lie to the world. I had to go hide and lie to my dad growing up. Like I was a liar of a person. I don't operate my life in a way of lies anymore. I'm a lot more honest, and probably too honest to a point where people are kind of like, when I speak in their face sometimes, and that's fine with me. You can think I'm out of my mind. You can think I'm crazy. One thing you're going to get from me is pretty direct honesty about what I'm doing in my life, what it is. I don't hide anything anymore. So yeah, I do that with my friends to a sense, especially like my close ones. If we're on the phone every day, 5 times a week, and we're making plans to go do stuff, like people in this world get really uncomfortable about a certain few things. Like money is one of them. Like you guys go on trips together or this or that, or you pay people, whatever it is. Like you can find a lot of your friendships rooted in like money and stuff too.
I don't envy that about you, man.
No, I mean, I am a very friendly person. You know, you guys have kids, you have your family, you have your structure, your team, your routine. I am very much can like go out, go to a dinner, have somebody come to my table. Oh, he has an interesting story. I'm very intrigued by life. I'm very intrigued by people's stories. Sometimes that's me being too friendly and giving my phone number to somebody that probably shouldn't have it. Other times it turns into lifelong friendships and blossoming things. You never know which way these conversations that you have on the street are going to go.
Yeah.
But I'm very open to seeing where they will go because I'm interested in people's stories. Everybody has a story.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the guy who has 15 golf memberships and a jet and this and that. I'm interested in how he became successful because I think that there's something I can learn from everybody in life. I'm also interested in the person that used to be really rich and they had a falling out and they didn't run their business the right way and they're trying to rebuild themselves back up in life. I'm interested in all those stories. I'm interested in the story about how you get to an Olympic gold medal or how you make it from Vandy to the NFL and what that was like to
story of adversity. That is.
I mean, it is. You played for people that don't know. I mean, you're a long snapper. You're a position on the team of the football team where you're kind of like, it's very easy to be like, is this guy one of our trainers? Or is he?
100%,
it's a very like interesting spot of like, I wouldn't say I've throughout my career was very, very close with our specialist. Like I wouldn't say that, but watch an NFL playoff game. Go watch a game that's in 5-degree weather and they're clearing snow. You have to snap that ball to make that play to send your team maybe to the Super Bowl. Why is that any different than a backup cornerback? Why is that any different? I can see why it's different from a guy like Myles Garrett. That's a little bit different, but it's no different than anybody else on the team that has a role.
Yeah.
People don't look at that way.
Well, let me share a story about when we played Texas A&M, which we lost by like 45 points, I think. But it was one of my favorite memories.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we got crushed. But one of my favorite memories from college football was post game. Johnny comes up to me and looks me in the eye, says, "Hey, great game." This is the type of stuff I'm saying, like, I will remember that forever, bro. And it was like so cool. We did get crushed. That's fine. But I also have to give my long snapper some love because though they have a bad rep, and is it questionable that they're playing the same game of football as everybody else? Yeah, it's a way different setup. I'm saying, like, the specialists, it's a different crowd. It does take a unique set of skills, maybe an obscure set of skills to be good at that. And I don't know if you know like Matt Overton, or I'm trying to think about who would be up in Cleveland with you when you were up there. But it's like it takes reps. And this is what I realized that it got me pumped about, like, in my mind, this realization that I had is like, man, I was long snapping for a long time. I'd never long snapped in the league. And so when I made it there, I crumbled, dude. Like, had this mental break. And then I realized that I just needed more reps in the league. And thank goodness I got more like more opportunities to do that. And so then I slowly built confidence. But then I was like, okay, that's not too different than when Shawn and I have like an argument. And we'll have the same argument, bro.
No.
Like
Right?
hundreds of times. And then you're like,
Same
you
way
just
you
gotta
need
get
reps on the football field, you need reps in life.
And with relationships, and like when you got this podcast, and you think about there's millions of podcasts out there, a small percentage do more than 10 episodes. So you're automatically in a class of your own. You're like top 10%. Only a smaller amount do video. So now you're like whittling your way to the top. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's just all about reps. It's all about staying in the game, whether you're talking long snapping, podcast, relationships, anything, even music. John Williams, the greatest composer ever. He wrote Jaws, Harry Potter, all the greats. This guy, like, it wasn't this whimsical by chance thing that he got great. He is known for waking up every day and writing a musical score. And then, sure enough, when you have thousands of those, a handful of them are going to be epic. And it's just a game of repetition. And it's like, dude, so, you know, whether it's with your podcast or being a great uncle or being generous, it's like, dude, give yourself the runway to keep getting reps in, and you will be successful.
Yeah.
Can I roast you for a second?
Oh, okay.
Can I share the glove story? Because it's like it's my favorite.
Sure, fine. Roast me.
Kind of. I was retired by the time he got into the league, so like my career was done. But I had seen so many. Gymnastics is really interesting. In
How old were you when you got to the league?
22. She was
I was 16 when I competed.
Yeah, 20 when you retired. Is that right? Yeah.
But in gymnastics, it's a huge mental
You
game.
had an even shorter career than me. That's hard to
I
do.
know, right? It's only there for 4 years. But in gymnastics, there's so many mental aspects that you get like the yips, kind of like in golf, and like there's all these things that you have to work through.
Is there a thought where you just have to like send it though too? Like when you're doing something, like you just like fuck it.
All the time. But the worst in gymnastics
I love that.
is similar to like golf with the yips. Is like if you start overthinking
Oh, it's
the
no
smallest
fun.
thing, your body, you just short circuit. But you'd been playing in college forever, and it was fun, and you'd never thought about it, and you'd go out and snap. And snapping, I think, is interesting because as a gymnast, I could obsess over 1 million different skills. So at any given point, my brain wasn't like focusing on one skill too long, because if I did, I would freak out. You've got one skill.
Okay,
That
easy.
psychs me out.
I would
You know
say,
what I mean?
No,
you know what I
let's
mean?
differentiate this because I got to give my long snapper some love. It's different than like, so you, very dynamic position. Quarterback, bro, you can respond, react, make different decisions. There's like, you know, dozens of choices you can make in any given moment. Am I going to tuck it and run? Am I going to toss it to this guy, that guy? What am I going to do? What type of move am I going to put on this guy? Long snapper is like golf or kicker, where you're like, it is a very static thing that I think hypes up the pressure even more.
I think you understood me wrong. That's what I'm saying. I could never.
Oh, I thought you were just roasting
I-
me. Like,
no,
I got
I'm saying,
one
like-
thing to
You
do.
can never
All
put
you got
your
is
head.
one
You can never
job.
put your head between your legs,
Never.
snap, and just run
Oh,
straight.
okay, I want to see you do it, Johnny.
I'm saying, focusing on literally one thing that is your job. Like the one swing. It's like, that's your job. I could not imagine. I would have psyched myself out way too much if like my job was literally to go out there and do one thing. But it was so fascinating because you had like mastered it. That was your thing. And then he goes into the league. He goes to Kansas City first, the Chiefs. And I will never forget this because I was on the road at the time. I was touring. And he calls me, or I think I saw a picture or something. And you had never in your career worn gloves. Ever.
It's like a quarterback wearing gloves.
Yeah.
It's like
I hate it.
Yeah.
Ever. Never in your life had you ever worn gloves. And all of a sudden I see this picture and I was like, why is he wearing gloves? What is it? Why are you wearing gloves? And he calls me and like we're debriefing his first practice at the Chiefs and he's like, I gotta wear gloves. I got gloves. I have to go get gloves. I have to wear gloves. And you were so obsessed over these gloves. And then you would start complaining that you weren't snapping well. And I was like, take the freaking gloves off.
I was in a
Just
bad
take the gloves
spot.
off.
It got weird.
And then you started spiraling over these gloves. I was like, these freaking gloves.
Yeah.
Just burn the gloves.
They would get super sweaty and then slimy.
That's
and then I was like,
that's the thing we spoke about earlier. That's the doubt.
yeah.
Right? That's the doubt of yourself. That's the doubt of your training. That's the doubt that everything that you've done in your life up until this point has prepared you for this moment. And I had that as well. You know, I got to Cleveland and forgot how to play quarterback. You know, I didn't put myself physically in a good enough spot to be able to like go do it in such a natural way that I had before. But you know, it happens. I think when you guys say that about, you see that me, like it happens a lot less now, right? am very firm right now at this point in my life of I'm seeing the effects of this podcast through my interactions in the streets. Just the people that have come up to me. I feel in a way that I'm helping people. Maybe football gave me the platform to be able to do that on a grander scale in life.
And you are.
Yeah, and it'll continue to get better, right? I'll continue to find and meet more people and learn more knowledge. Like, you know, I've told people this before, but I've been friends with Drake for many years. Always like almost him being like a big brother to me and like showing me the ropes, trying to be there throughout the downfall of my career to like help me, show me, you know, a different side of life, a better side of life. And, you know, as our relationship has like grown throughout this last year, I very much, it's not the same anymore in a sense of like, we're not just bullshitting, or I'm not really bullshitting. You know, the time that I get to like be around him or we go to dinner or we're like hanging out in the studio or just talking, like I started to ask him like just different questions, you know, different questions about what's allowed him to get to the top of his, you know, career or what he does in life, you know, things that he's learned along the way. Just like, it's way more of like, if I'm going to be around this guy, I want to pick the brain of somebody who we're going to look back on time and like in time and say, he's one of the greatest artists ever. You know, for me, you know, I've been around so much of his life, but there's so much there that I haven't, you know, wasn't around for. And I'm like, I'm just curious about it. I think I'm curious in all aspects of my life of, you know, just learning little bitty tidbits, knowledge here and there, which is why, you know, the book to me, when you guys were talking about writing that, is so interesting. I think you have to read in this life, right? You have to read to educate yourself. You can't just do it all through, you know, conversation and things like that.
Yeah.
What made you guys get to the point where you wanted to do this?
To your point about like learning from other people, there's so much good that can come as a result of that. I got in this huge phase where I had a mentor who encouraged me to read more. And then it was through that where I realized, like, this sounds so silly, but I was like, dude, reading is so cool and could change your life. And you're pretty much getting an inside look into these other people's successes and failures. And so we had an opportunity to write a book. It was a big responsibility because, like, when that thing is done and printed, there's no editing it, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's done. So it took...
Set in stone.
Yeah, it took 3 years. But it was really fun to kind of marinate on a topic and explore it. And we're not writing this as experts. It's very much out of a place of, like, hey, we wanted to explore what in our life has gone well and what has gone poorly and why. And it was really fun to kind of just do that with Shawn. It was a really good growing process for us. But I enjoyed it, and we'll see if it's a message that resonates with other people. But I'm excited to get it out there in the world.
For everybody who wants to check it out, you can see these two cute, beautiful little babies and this book. I know I'm going to check it out. But, you know, to end things up, I always ask my guests last question, which is pretty much if you guys had one word to describe, you know, your glory days of life. I feel you guys could very much still be in it right now with what you're doing, raising kids, your family and everything. But as you look back on life and you look at your glory days, what you think may have been the best, your highs in sports, whatever it is, what do you feel like is one word for each of you that describes those times?
My word is today, to be honest. I think today is my glory day. And if I had to like pinpoint a pivot moment of like when that started, it's like anytime I started, I took a leap of faith into something I wasn't sure about, but I knew would go down a path that I wanted. So I want to have a family. Okay, let me commit to this thing called marriage. I'm 24. I wasn't sure how that was going to pan out, but like that, those little decisions, the paths that you start down compound to like make today better than yesterday, tomorrow better than today. So I think that's what glory days means to me, is like, how can I compound my decisions to make it so today is better than any other day I've lived?
I just thought of fun. The peak of my gymnastics career, I loved it. I had so much fun. Even at the Olympics, I was playing, and it was just fun. And now I would say the same thing. I feel like we're in the glory days of like our next career, our second career, our marriage, our kids, our parenting. And I think it's because I get to hold loosely onto like the seriousness of life, and we just try to laugh and have fun.
You have to laugh at yourself. You have to laugh at life. Comedy and laughs is a huge thing that you must have in your life to keep your sanity. So everybody out here, Gory Daze, it's probably a little different than what we've done some podcasts as, but please check out their book and tap into this. This is a really interesting conversation on a bunch of different levels from people who have been through a lot of different things. Unique. You guys get a chance to see a little bit more into my life. A couple more episodes left in the season, but we appreciate you guys watching. Much love and peace.